let's transition back to Denver and let's talk about the Denver Broncos. As the Denver Broncos, they agreed to terms with Sean Payton as their new head coach. So the New Orleans Saints, they received the Denver Broncos 2023 first round pick and the Broncos second round pick for 2024. The Broncos, they get Sean Payton, and they also get the Saints third round pick for 2024. So when I look at this move for the Denver Broncos, I believe that this was a home run hire by the Denver Broncos. I look at Sean Payton and what Sean Payton has been able to accomplish since he's been a head coach in the NFL. Sean Payton, his career record as a head coach, 161-97. He's won 62% of his games. That includes the regular season and the postseason. And when I look at the best coaches and the most proven coaches in the NFL, I think about Bill Belichick. I think about Mike Tomlin. I think about Andy Reid. I also think about Sean Payton. You look at Sean Payton since he's been a head coach in New Orleans. Remember when Drew Brees was in San Diego, when he got traded to New Orleans, people had questions about Drew Brees. People didn't know if Drew Brees was a franchise quarterback, and they didn't know if the Saints were going to be able to win with Drew Brees. And all those years in New Orleans, when Drew Brees had the New Orleans Saints contending in the NFC South, contending in the NFC overall, it wasn't just because of Drew Brees. It was also because of the greatness of Sean Payton as a head coach and how he's able to connect with his quarterbacks. We know that Drew Brees is an all-time great. We know Drew Brees and Sean Payton, they won the Super Bowl in 2009. Drew Brees beat Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl that year. And Drew Brees is an all-time great. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. He's broken a lot of records in the history books. But even after Drew Brees, I look at what he was able to do with Jameis Winston. And before Jameis Winston went down with his injury, I thought Jameis Winston was on his way to becoming a short-term answer for the New Orleans Saints at the quarterback position. Not only that, look at his development with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, when he came into the NFL, he was undrafted. He got picked up by the Packers. The Packers let go of Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill goes to New Orleans, and look at what Sean Payton was able to do with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is not a great pocket passer. And here Sean Payton is with Taysom Hill. He has him starting at quarterback, and the Saints are able to win football games. Remember that year when Drew Brees, I think it was might have been the last year when he retired, or it might have been the second to last year. But that season when Teddy Bridgewater had to take over for Drew Brees, when Drew Brees got injured, that season, Teddy Bridgewater was 5-0 in the absence of Drew Brees. So when you look at Sean Payton and how he's able to develop quarterbacks and have a great relationship with his quarterbacks, even quarterbacks who, from an ability standpoint, are not very good, you got to feel good as a Broncos fan and feel as if Sean Payton can help revitalize Russell Wilson's career, because that's the main objective for Sean Payton. He has to revitalize Russell Wilson and have Russell Wilson play at a high level again. This past year, Russell Wilson was pathetic. His total QBR was 37. That was ranked 27th in the NFL when it comes to quarterbacks. He had 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That touchdown to interception ratio was ranked 25th in the NFL rankings when it comes to quarterbacks. He completed 61% of his passes. That was ranked 30th in the NFL. And I look at this Broncos team overall. They got Jerry Jeudy. You got Courtland Sutton as well at receiver. They got weapons. So the way that Russell Wilson struggled this year is unacceptable. And I look at what Russ has been able to do in his career. The man has been a starting quarterback 11 seasons in the NFL. 9 of those 11 seasons, his team has had a winning record. The last 2 years, Russell Wilson, his football teams have struggled. And this past year, Geno Smith had a better season than Russell Wilson did. Geno Smith. And look at what Pete Carroll was able to do with Geno. Now they're looking to sign Geno Smith to a possible 2 or 3 year deal. And he's the answer right now in Seattle. And Pete Carroll and that Seahawks organization, their decision to trade Russell Wilson was brilliant. What a great decision by that organization. They realized that the money that Russell Wilson was demanding and wanting, he wasn't worth anymore. He wasn't worth anymore. And if I'm Sean Payton, I believe that the Denver Broncos winning formula next year, their winning formula needs to be running the football and playing great defense. That's what their formula is going to have to be for them to be contenders in the AFC West. You look at what they were able to do last year. Defense was not their problem at all. Last year, the Broncos, they ranked 6th in total yards given up per game. They only gave up 334 total yards per game. Also, they were good against the run. They only give up 110 rushing yards per game. That's ranked 10th in the NFL. And they get off the field on third down as well. They get off the field on 34% of their third down plays. That's ranked 2nd in the NFL. So defensively, this Broncos team is a good football team. I like some of the pieces that this team has defensively. Defensively, you got Pat Surtain, you got Jonathan Harris, DJ Jones up front. At linebacker, you got Baron Browning, Alex Singleton as well. In the secondary, you got Surtain, like I spoke about a few minutes ago. You got Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson. So I like this Denver Broncos defense. And offensively, you got Murray, you got Edmonds at running back, Jeudy, Sutton, Kendall Hinton as well at receiver. So there is no excuses for Wilson moving forward. Now that Sean Payton is in Denver, there are no excuses for Russell Wilson to struggle next season. None. Now they're in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. You got the Chargers as well. They just brought on Kellen Moore. I'm gonna talk about him here in a minute. They got Kellen Moore. They got Justin Herbert as well still. And then in Las Vegas, it's a possibility that the Raiders may trade for Aaron Rodgers. So they're in a division where the Chiefs has been the kings of the AFC West. But if the Broncos want to have any chance at competing for a Super Bowl, they're going to need Russell Wilson to elevate his game and get back to playing at a high level. You look at what the Broncos' recent moves, what they've done. They traded 5 picks for Russell Wilson. They signed Wilson to a $245 million extension. They brought on Sean Payton. So Sean Payton and Russell Wilson are the 2 men who are going to be given the responsibility to help the Denver Broncos get back to the playoffs. The only team that has a longer playoff drought than the Denver Broncos is the New York Jets. Broncos haven't been back to the playoffs since they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. That's the last time the Broncos made the postseason. So, I like this move bringing in Sean Payton. Again, when I look at the most proven NFL head coaches, It's Andy Reid, it's Bill Belichick, it's Mike Tomlin. Sean Payton is a part of that conversation as well. Somebody commented and said John Harbaugh. You could throw John Harbaugh in there as well as a proven NFL head coach. But I like Sean Payton and how he can elevate the quarterbacks that he has in his room. And, I think it's a good fit, and I think it's a perfect destination for Sean Payton. And Russell Wilson had to sign off on the Broncos bringing on Sean Payton. This ain't a deal that the Broncos make without the consent given from Russell Wilson. So expectations are going to be at an all-time high for Russ and the Broncos next season. Everybody go and follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. We should follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sport.